Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Toriko chapter 232 review. Now, this week's chapter, Toriko, man. Yeah. This week's chapter, yeah, that's right, man. That's right, man. I'm not rocking the fork and knife today. I got my spoon and I got my spatula. Random combination, but fuck it. Why not? Who cares? Listen, man. Listen, man. This week's chapter, Toriko. I mean, so many things to take into account. Because, well, first of all, let me start at stage one, right? So, I'm not going to do a full-blown summary, but, let me talk about the key points here, right? Number one, space hints. There's a lot of, listen, let me go step by step and explain all the space hints, or at least ones that I remember, that occurred ever since the beginning of this arc. Number one, there is the guy who, one of the guys who, Ume, the friend of Komatsu, one of the guys, you know, one of the main founders of the Neo, the, something National Food Utopia. I forgot what it stands for, Neo. But either way, this guy was on a space trip, and he was on like a space cruise, and he was chilling, and so that's number one, right? So this guy came down, and he was on some kind of space adventure. Now, I believe that was at the beginning of this arc, or it could have been. Yeah, I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was at the beginning of this arc, because I remember Ume was actually reading the paper about Komatsu at that point in time. So yeah, I believe that when they were actually on, like when they were in space with that guy, they were, you know, that was at the beginning of this arc, the cooking feast. Now that's number one. Number two. And this is like a roundabout hint, but I think it's very quintessential. Was when, of course, Sunny was talking about his Saiyan hair, about how his Saiyan hair could actually go into the mantle of the planet, and then kill all life on the planet, and then it will go on to other planets. That's number two. Number three is that there is actually a space chef named Apollo. Okay, now of course I'm pretty sure that he's the lead chef of the space, you know, like the whole, like the space organization, but like he's very key, because of course he's a chef that's based solely on space, and he has that get up like a spacesuit, yada yada yada. And number four was this week's chapter of Toriko, and this is a huge hint. This is a huge hint that the series may be much longer than first anticipated, because of the fact that it now appears that Mitsutoshi doesn't want to stay solely on this world. He wants to go explore other worlds and get extraterrestrial ingredients, which sounds pretty badass. Because what ends up happening, alright, is that Zaus, because he's talking to Setsuno, like after Zaus took out Lady Chio with the roundabout, I'll be the roundabout. Yeah, right there, man. The thing about that is that once he couldn't, because, you know, like Setsuno was talking about the whole entire Joah thing, which I'll get to later. I believe his name is Joe or Joah, the dark chef, but either way. And then, yeah, like I said before, I'll get to that later. He confronts her, then she says, because like now she knows that Zaus is working for another organization, not the IGO, not acting as an independent chef, not the Bashukukai. He's working for someone else. And then she says the organization, which of course she means Neo. At least that's my assumption. And then she assumes that their goal is God. And then he says, but here's the thing, Zaza says, and this is gonna be the title of my actual, you know, video. He says, God and beyond. This world is but a mere drop in the ocean. I was like, yo, we're going on fucking space capades. Dude, listen, man, they're going to space, man. And you know what that means, right? Listen, if they're going to other planets, all right, in order to find more ingredients, that means, and this is like a, you know, like this is gonna be like a bold statement, because right now we've seen that their maximum DC thus far, according to Mitsutoshi himself, is being able to destroy this area, or at least when it comes to a lot of people on the island. Like, they can destroy this 160 kilometer square island. I think it's 160 kilometers square. Maybe it's bigger than that. I'm not too sure. But all I know is that it is somewhere around the size of Cyprus when it comes to overall kilometer square. But the thing about it is that I'm thinking planetary, bro. Cause listen, if you're going to space to go explore the planets and shit, they're allowed to be able to destroy planets. Like, come on, man. I can see, if the series, at the end of the series, I can see Toriko, 50,000 Ren Kugi punch, planets blow up and shit, could be. Listen, there have been so many space hints. There's so many hints in this arc so far, which are suggesting that we're gonna go to outer space and explore other planets, get other ingredients. So, and of course, that means that the series is gonna be longer, which means that the series may not initially stop at Toriko's goal of God, or maybe God's not even on the planet. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the Nitro came from other planets. Listen, man. The possibilities Mitsutoshi can do with this shit are fucking endless. Once you leave your own design world and go explore other shit, now the possibilities are endless. And I would love to see where they go with that. I would love it. And then plus, again, because the series, so that would mean a lot of things for the series if they decide to venture out into other planets. So that's number one. Number one, I like a lot. That's good. That's good. Now, let me get to things I didn't like. All right, obviously. All right. First of all, number one, things I didn't like: Chio getting taken out. I mean, again, it was cool. He comes with a freaking thing, sword, yeah. And by the way, he did apparently he did a technique on Setsuno called Rene Onashi. And apparently this attack was so... I don't know what it means in attack power or attack potency, but it was a skill in which the actual scar or the wound inflicted by the strike would pass on from generation to generation. The actual wound itself would seep into one's genetic coding. So, Zaus is on some I don't know what that means. It's crazy, but what does that mean? What does it mean? Yeah, I'm gonna cut you. Yeah, your DNA. Now your kids gonna have the scar on their face. Setsuno's a grandma, so she having. I don't think. She's been around for centuries. Because she even said, how many centuries has it been since I've seen my own blood? I'm like, goddamn. She's fierce, but I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Because I'm trying to figure out what that means in attack power and attack potency, in attack scheme in general. And it's badass, but it's what does that mean exactly? So Tojiba, alright. But the thing about it was that, Chio, I was hoping for more, I knew that she was going to be taken out ever since Karibo, Gurmei Herman, and Zaus came in there and they said, we're going to take out Setsuno because she's a massive threat, obviously. And the thing about that's very intriguing was that because of the fact that they are a third faction, a third party, Neo, the Bushiku-kai and the IGO and those who support the IGO are all enemies to them. So they take out Chio, right? And to me, it kind of I was hoping that Mitsutoshi would do a lot more with showing the actual confrontation, the fight between these two old women, and because this, it was set up to be so epic, and he never really showed, he never highlighted it. And I can understand why, because the kings and their battles, they take premise, and even still there was fucking Tengu Brunchy. Tengu Brunchy's he's Tengu Brunchy, but he's Tengu Brunchy. But the thing about it was that this was supposed to be or at least in my mind, it was supposed to be whoa, one of the main highlights of this entire arc, Chio versus Setsuno, and we didn't get that. And now it appears, and if Chio was still conscious, I don't think she's dead, but if she's still conscious, then she's gonna probably side on Setsuno's side. Why? Because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's that simple. It's a very old concept. So I can see her actually helping out Setsuno for the time being, because, you know, and even still, like, I can even see in the grander scheme, if Neo get in the way of both the Aijo and the Bushigikai, I can see those two factions temporarily teaming up. Like, Midora team up with fucking Ichirai to take out Neo. I can see it happening, sort of, maybe. I mean, Midora, only God knows how powerful he is, but shit. I mean, that's one thing I didn't like at all. But I'll take it. Like, I didn't like it at all, but I'll take it. But that bumps the actual chapter rating down. And then what also bumps it down is Toriko and Stage. Now, it's a good cliffhanger, and it's good shock value. But because of the fact that we've been seeing other fights, this fight has been progressing on alongside with these other fights. And when Komatsu comes in there with Union, and he dive right in there, and they slide, and then they see Stage, and literally, like, he's like, yo, I'm like, we didn't see, like, what up to this point when it comes to when it comes to this fight between Stage and Toriko. Not only that, but we haven't seen the Coco Grimpax fight either, and that fight's still going on, unless they're still falling down, which is like, how deep is the hole that Grimpax made? And even still, it's kind of like, well, they can fight in midair as they're falling, but like, regardless, we haven't seen that fight either. So when it comes to those two fights, so it's like we've seen Zebra fuck up Bushigikai and Nicho, B-punch, yeah, get the fuck out of here. We've seen one of the best fights in Toriko, Sunny versus Tommy Rod. Awesome. Amazing. But that's because we saw that fight through and through. You feel me? Like, we saw that fight through and through. And when it comes to the Coco fight and the Toriko fight, at least we're hopping in halfway. So automatically, unless Mitsutoshi pulls out some crazy epic, like, what the fuck shit, then those fights are going to be, at least from an initial assumption, they're going to be even lower than the Sunny and Timerod fight. Now, the thing about those two is that, of course, they have yet to show their powers that they've awakened from the Oshoku Banzai when they performed it against the Four Beasts in the last arc. But I would like to see, like, that's just the one thing that I was very disappointed with when it came to this chapter. So that's another bump down. But it's still good. It's a good cliffhanger. But overall, not pleased with that. I'm just not. I'm not. And other things that I must point out are two things. All right. Number one is Apollo, and number two is Joah, or Joe. I think his name is Joah, but let me get that later. Apollo is very simple, right? He's the space chef that I explained about before. And then when we see the fights going on, like the miniature fights between the chefs and the Bushigikai, like we see the guy who we see Match, the current head of the German Mafia, because the former head Ryu, he is a part of Ichirayu's squad. His Gourmet World squad. So Mach is doing his thing with his EI sword style, pretty badass as always. And of course what's that guy named? The leader of the Gourmet Knights. I don't think it was him. I don't think so. I think it was someone else. But he was a member of the Gourmet Knights because he had a pre-shot routine. They all have pre-shot routines. And fire some arrows at kill some Bushigikai. And then we saw the chefs do their thing. There's like a miniature seasoning battle between like a Bushigikai member and a chef. We see one of the girls from like the Bushigikai face off against like some of these IGO or like mafia gunmen. Takes it on fairly quickly. She got shot like several hundred times, and then she literally tanked all these bullets. So I don't know what her powers are, but I mean, she's no Elg obviously, but she has some kind of ability where it's like impervious to damage, or at least minimal damage at best when it comes to bullets and so on and so forth. But she was bleeding, whatever. We'll find out more about that. But when it came to Apollo, like at some point, and the grandma who was there at the last arc, who assisted in creating the medical monchi that was used to cure people from the green rain that the Four Beasts made, that grandma, apparently she's a part of this group. And in this group, Apollo's there, and he's walking away. And some girl makes like an invisible yeast house to hide in, so they can avoid getting seen by the Bushukukai and like some smoking and so on and so forth. And the thing about it was that like this guy Paulo walks away, and then the grandma who we've seen before, she's like, "Where are you going? Are you gonna join the Bushukukai?" He's like, "No, neither them nor the IGO." And then he pulls like an instant transmission and warps away. So this guy is very intriguing, and he has no battle damage. This dude has no battle damage. So like, I'm just saying. I mean, he's probably fighting against fodder, but he's no bitch. He has no battle damage. So keep that in mind. And the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, Joah. Yeah, the Dark Cook. And according to Setsuno, because after before Zaus takes out Chio, before Setsuno powers up, because at some point, after Chio's taken out, Setsuno powers up. And she's like, "Yeah, don't make me fucking raise my blood pressure." I'm like, yeah. She's crazy. She's fucking crazy. But the thing about that is that she explains about how apparently there's something about Zaza's scars that I didn't really get. I didn't understand it. But apparently, like, Zaza at some point met this guy called the Dark Chef, Joah, and we've heard about him before. I believe he's actually, remember, he's the head chef of this country, where one of the members of Neo, one of the actual old dudes, is the leader of this country. So by default, Joah should also be a member of Neo by default. I could be wrong, Toshiba. Okay, all right, good. And the thing about it is that I believe that Joah was there. Like, remember the whole entire thing about the four beasts being controlled by someone, and then we see Teppei meet someone, and then Teppei, when he has a dream about this person who fucked him up apparently, where his head was on like it was in a bowl of like fruit and bread, and this guy had a fork and fucking knife, like a spatula and spoon and shit. He was like, yeah, I think that was Joah. I think that was Joah. I really do, because this guy's a threat. Because apparently, in the first 200 years ago, in the first cooking feast competition, he won. So in actuality, according to Setsuno, there are 5 super cooks in full. All right, there is herself, Setsuno. Apparently, Chio won one. Yuta, Zazus, and apparently Tengu Brunchy won one too. So I'm like, really, Tengu? I mean, because he seems pretty young. So I'm like, he actually won one? I mean, he could be old as fuck. I don't know, because these people are like centuries old. I mean, maybe I don't know, because I know that Toriko's like around like 26 or 25. Like he's somewhere around there. So I'm not too sure about that. But either way, the thing about it is that like she explains how this guy Joah won the first competition, but he lost his status because apparently he cheated, and the runner-up was Setsuno. So the assumption would be that this guy is stronger than Setsuno, or at least he's more skilled of a chef. And if you're more skilled of a chef, then technically you're stronger, I guess. At least in this world, I think so. Well, no. I mean, because Komatsu's actually very, very skilled, but he's a pussy. So, but I mean, let's assume that he's stronger than Setsuno. What does that mean? Massive threat. He is a massive threat. He's a massive threat. If you are stronger than Setsuno, you're a massive threat. It's that simple. It's obvious. So I'll leave it at that. All right. But give me your thoughts if you believe that the guy who was controlling the 4 beasts was in fact Joah. I think it's Joah. But I could be wrong. Who knows? But I'm done. So King Lightning. The rating overall, I'll give it a good chapter. Even though there are things I didn't like, there are more things that I did like, and they did help over the chapter, in my personal opinion. So I'll leave it at that. And now we're at 20 minutes, so yeah, I'm done. King Lightning, the show, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe as always. And I'm signing out. Peace. Have a nice day. Salute. Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Yeah. Tengu.